How are you? Um, I'm. I don't really know what's going on with my hair today. I'm really sorry if it offends you. I also think you probably shouldn't be offended by hair, but it's really windy out, and we went to Whole Foods earlier, so I just decided to just embrace the direction of the wind and just pull all my hair over. Kind of digging it though. Anyway, so I'm doing the 90s tag because I am an 80s baby and I remember the 90s, and I saw this actually on Claire Marshall's channel. If you guys don't watch, hey Claire, you totally should. She's hilarious and I love her, and I feel like she reminds me of me and Rachel. Like, we just should be friends. But anyway, it's 18 questions, and for the sake of not having like an hour-long video to edit, I'm just going to kind of dive right in. So I will also list the questions below if you do want to do this video yourself, okay? Question number 1. Favorite TV show? I would have to honestly say probably Full House, just because I was a massive Olsen, I still kind of am, like an Olsen Twins fan. I really love Mary-Kate and Ashley, especially when I was a little kid, because they have the same coloring as me, and they're like a year younger than me, and I just really loved, if you guys remember TGIF, and you had like Full House, Family Matters, Boy Meets World, and Step by Step, like that was my jam. Every Friday night I would just like watch that, but I would definitely probably say Full House because I just thought that was like the best show ever. 2, favorite toy. My most favorite toy, and this really shouldn't surprise you if you know anything about me, was Pound Puppies. I had a lot of Pound Puppies. If you guys don't know what Pound Puppies are, they were like a stuffed animal, but they would come like a rectangular box, and it was the mom, and you would literally, it was kind of gross actually in hindsight, but you would open, there was like Velcro on her side, and you would open it, right? And they would have little babies in there, and you never knew how many you were gonna get. So it's so twisted now that I'm like an adult and you're looking back, you're like, why would you ever market that to kids? But I was like so obsessed with them. But you would open them, and then you would like always hope for like 5, right? You would always want like as many puppies as you could, and typically you got like 2 or 3. But I had a bunch of them, but it was, I'll insert a picture, but you would literally like open her side and like pull the puppies out, and then it was like the mom and the puppies, and you know how they tell you now to spay and neuter your pet. I think Pound Puppies was like a child brainwashing technique to do that, but yeah, I really loved Pound Puppies. God, and they had a TV show, and I used to tape, if you guys, I don't know if anybody remembers VCRs, but I used to tape the Pound Puppies TV show. Man, I was like really into them. Alright, so favorite commercial. I would probably say the Indian, I don't know if this was the 90s. I gotta look it up. I would say it's the Indian crying because you littered, but I'm not actually sure if that was a 90s commercial. That's probably the only one I really remember. Really emotionally affected by that, and kind of thinking like, oh my god, we're ruining their homeland. And I hadn't, obviously wasn't old enough to have taken like American history and realized that is so the least of their problems. But yeah, that's probably the one that I remember the most. 4, NSync or Backstreet Boys? Kind of neither. Like, if I had to pick one of the two, I'd pick NSync, just because I think the Backstreet Boys were just kind of douchey. But I'm from Kentucky, and 98 Degrees, like half the band of 98 Degrees is from Cincinnati, which out of kind of like hometown pride, I had to like them, even though I don't really like them. But yeah, I wasn't truly a huge boy band fan kind of in general, though. I was really more, I swear to God, if I get one comment saying you touched your hair too much, yeah, I know, I'm not used to this part. So anyway, I was really more of like a Britney, I was like the girl fan. I was like Spice Girls, Britney Spears. I remember Mandy Moore with that Candy video, and I never really liked Christina Aguilera. I still don't. 5, weirdest fashion trend. I can think, well, I wouldn't say the one is weird. I can think of 2. One is definitely weird, and one is weird, but I have sentimental value for it. The first one that I remember is sundresses with Timberlands. I remember distinctly having the actual top of it was like a black t-shirt, and then it had like a little pocket that was the same fabric as the skirt on the dress, which was like a big, loud sunflower print. So it was the 90s. We weren't very subtle. But probably more so than the 80s. But I remember wearing it, and it was pretty short. Like, I mean, I think it was like in the 4th grade, so it wasn't like, you know, pedophilia short, but still. And I remember wearing it with Timberlands and like the roll, like scrunchy socks. I don't know if anybody remembers like tube socks. You would like, they literally had like lines up them, and you would roll them down and just make, basically it was like if Uggs could get worse, if like Uggs and Crocs made a sock kid and just wanted to ruin your look as much as possible, it would be scrunchy socks. I distinctly remember wearing them with Timberlands and that sundress and thinking I was hot shit. Like that was a look back then. I was so not the only person wearing that too. Like that was like a trend. The other one is probably like when Clueless came out and we all dressed like Ty and Cher and Dion. I remember having like the baby tees with the little tank top, and I remember having like the striped or plaid separates and talking as if. 6 favorite collectibles. I don't know if I would say favorite. I think a lot of it for me was more what do I remember the most, and I would say for that definitely Beanie Babies. My mom and I were like really into them for a good amount of my childhood. I mean literally like my allowance would buy a Beanie Baby probably for 2 years. Oh, segue. Favorite Beanie Baby. Oddly enough, I don't remember a lot of them individually, which is really depressing because I had probably like 200. My favorite one would have been the elephant, just because I love, can you even see that? I really love elephants. I didn't have like that $2,000 one, that like royal purple or whatever. I had like the $8 one. 8. How many Tamagotchis did you go through? Okay, so I had 2, and I had one that was like a knockoff Tamagotchi. It was like the cheap one, and you would like tie them to your backpack or to your like little purse or whatever, except it would like poop and you had to clean up after it and you had to feed it and it would like yell at you. And I truly think Tamagotchis were kind of my primer for kids, more so than any pet I've ever owned, because I truly think that because of Tamagotchis, I don't want children. I think I learned very quickly that if I were to have a kid, I would be like one of those parents that like hated their kid. I would be like so annoyed with their child like all the time because it just wouldn't shut up, and that stupid Tamagotchi would not shut up. So yeah, I didn't have one for very long. 9. Favorite game, console, and game. I'm 7 years younger than my brother, and my brother always had like Atari and Nintendo and Game Boys and all, like anything, you name it, he had it. And so I remember Atari, and I remember like playing Duck Hunt with my dad on Nintendo, and I remember all that stuff. But I think for favorite, the only one that I actually had for myself was the Sega Game Gear. If you guys, I don't know if anybody remembers. I'm gonna try to insert pictures of whatever I'm talking about if I can find one. But I only had 2 games. It was the 2 games that it came with, and we never bought any more than that. But we would take a lot of road trips when I was a kid. We would like drive to visit family, because that's typically who we would vacation with, and by vacation with them, we would go stay with them for like holidays and stuff. And so to kind of keep us quiet and entertained and everything in the back, we both had like, he had a Game Boy and whatever, and I had a Game Gear, and I had Sonic the Hedgehog, and I had The Lion King. So I think The Lion King came out the same year as Pulp Fiction. So it was 94. So I was 9, and I played the crap out of those games. I was so good, especially The Lion King. I was really, really good at. Like, you were Simba, and you had to like get through as a cub, and like Dad and like Mufasa, and then you had Scar and Nala, and like you really had like the whole. It was really cool. Like in hindsight, like I remember thinking it was like the coolest thing ever. I think my first memory is sitting in my dad's lap playing Duck Hunt on Nintendo. May also be one of the reasons why I'm a vegetarian. 10. Favorite Disney Channel original movie. I don't know if it's because maybe I didn't have the Disney Channel, or the Disney Channel hadn't made movies yet. I don't know which one it is, but I don't remember seeing Disney Channel movies. I remember when I had to babysit, I would go over to like the kids' house and watch them, and they would have like the Disney Channel on for their kids, but I never watched it like at my own house. So I can't really answer that. I'm sorry. Maybe there was one, and I just, because I didn't have it, maybe, I don't know. I have an NA for that answer. Sorry. It's a bad answer. 11. Favorite music artist. Dude, I was really into the Bangles. Like, really into them. Like, I knew all the words to Manic Monday. I knew the Walk Like an Egyptian dance. I would stand there in my, you know how you have the formal living room that like nobody ever actually went into? I remember going in there and like moving furniture and turning my boombox on and doing the dance for like hours every day. And like, oh man, that was a part of my life. Favorite Nick Jr. show. Dude, I don't remember this. I don't remember Nick Jr. I just remember Nickelodeon. And I can tell you that my favorite Nickelodeon show, I had a lot of them because I watched Nickelodeon like a lot, but I would watch Clarissa Explains It All, and I just thought it was like the greatest show ever. And I wanted like a best friend to climb up a ladder and come into my room too, but my room was at the front of the house, so if that actually happened, I would be like in trouble so fast. He wouldn't even be up the damn ladder before my parents would be storming and pissed. Double Dare. I remember watching Double Dare a lot. I remember watching Hey Dude, Hey Arnold. Was that on Nick Jr.? I don't remember Nick Jr. Doug. I feel like Nick Jr. was like Rugrats, and I didn't see Rugrats until I started babysitting. And I was like 12 when I really started like babysitting, and that was like a job, so I did that like a lot. So I remember watching those shows, but I don't think I ever watched them like because I voluntarily wanted to. I watched it because that's what the like kid I was sitting wanted to watch. Trying to think of what else. If you hear that in the background, it's the most annoying thing in the world. We're moving in a couple of months, and God, I can't wait for that sound to stop. All that. Welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. Can I take your order? Keenan and Kel. Man, that was, I miss the 90s. This is like fun. Favorite candy. 13. Favorite candy. I have so many answers to this question because candy was I don't think it's just me. Candy was a huge deal in the 90s. Like, there was so much cool stuff that came out. And it's probably because you're the age and everything is like marketed to, so you thought everything was the greatest thing ever. But I really remember my favorite candy bar was Bar None, which I can't find. Beyond that, I'd probably say, oh my God, like I can remember so many. I remember Warheads. I remember Airheads. There was a factory town or two over from me, and I remember somebody that I went to school with, her mom or dad or somebody worked there, and she would just get boxes of these things. And I don't know if they were like the reject boxes that like didn't pass the QC process, or if they were like the flavors that didn't actually make it. I don't know how she got these things, but we always had like crap loads of Airheads, and we would just, in like weird flavors and stuff. But man, that was like a food group when I was growing up. Okay, I'll tell you a really quick story. So I'm so glad there wasn't Twitter around when I was like in high school and grade school and stuff, because I truly think that I would be much dumber. But I remember when the candy store came to the mall, and it was like, oh my God, I hate it. I'm sorry. If I could mute it, I would. I can't stand that damn truck. There was a candy store that opened in the mall, and they had those not the Jolly Ranchers, they had the Jawbreakers that were like the size of your head. And I remember my dad taking me there, and I was so excited that I was going to get one. And everybody I knew had one, and we would sit there for every day, for hours after school, gnawing on these things for probably like a month. And if we had Twitter back then, I guarantee you, like, everybody I knew would be, like, tweeting their progress pictures. Oh, I knocked a chunk off of it or whatever. But I think the Jawbreaker was, I mean, and I'm not kidding. Like, I have a huge head, and I probably had one about the size of my head. So I'm not embellishing that, but that was, like, a really big deal. Fun Dip was another one that was really big. Also, the little like bottle caps. I remember bottle caps were huge. And then the root beer barrels. A lot of candy in the 90s. Like bubble tape, fruit stripe gum. I remember going to this nursery called Frank's, and they had a checkout lane. And my dad and I, or my mom, or whoever I was with, we would go, and I would always beg them to get me fruit stripe gum, and it was always kind of expensive. And I don't know why we loved it so much. I think it was because of all the different colors, and they were supposed to taste like different fruits, but the flavors were really synthetic, and they never lasted very long anyway. But the appeal of the gum was so strong that you would buy it, or you'd beg them to buy it for you. Favorite game, 14. Board game, school game, etc. I don't think I played a lot of board games growing up. I played Monopoly, I think, because that's like the law, and I played Jenga and stuff like that. But the two games I remember the most, and like Candyland. I do remember playing Candyland. But I would say Hungry Hungry Hippos and Pretty Pretty Princess were like, those are pretty big deals in my house. And then we play like Barbies and stuff. School game, the only one that comes to mind is MASH, because we used to play MASH like every day. If you guys don't know what MASH is, it stands for Mansion, Apartment, Shack, House, and you'd basically write out MASH at the top, and then you would list like 3 options for however many categories you wanted to make. So like we would always have like husband, amount of kids, job, where you lived, like city or whatever, and you could go on and on and on and on, and depending on who you're playing with, like these things were like novels and like fortune telling. It was great. But then you would like draw a little, the way we did it, we would draw like a little circle and just like make it bigger and bigger and bigger until the person said stop. And then whenever they said stop, you would count the lines through the circle. This is extremely complicated stuff, and whatever. But and then that's how many you would go through. So say you had like 10, you'd be like MASH. You would, through the longest process of elimination ever, deduce like what your future held. Obviously, none of it came true, because when you're 10, you have no idea what the world has in store for you. We played that like it was our job. It was a ton of fun. 15, favorite McDonald's Happy Meal toy. And I don't think it's a favorite, but it's the one that I remember the most, being Beanie Babies, because I remember us like hunting those things down. And I also, because I didn't eat a lot of McDonald's growing up. 16, favorite book. My favorite book, without a doubt, was Matilda. I think Matilda by Roald Dahl is probably to this day my favorite book. I don't know, I haven't read it in a couple of years, but I love Roald Dahl's writing. I love the way he writes for kids. I love all the messages in it. I think it's a great lesson. I just really, really enjoyed that book. I think I checked it out like 100 times in the 5th grade. I just thought like it was the greatest thing ever. 17, favorite clothing store. Once I had some money, like I was babysitting and working and stuff like that, I would go into like Wet Seal and shop there. And I remember thinking that was like a big deal. That was like big spending. Okay, last question. What would you watch when you get home from school? VH1 and MTV, back because I used to play music videos in the 90s. Like that's all they did. Like TRL was a thing. That I do remember watching TRL because I thought that was like the greatest thing ever. And I remember like, because I would get home like around 4, like sometimes earlier. I remember seeing like the tail end of this one soap opera called Passions, and I don't know if it's still on or not, but I remember when it came out, it was like debuting, and seeing like tidbits of it really like sporadically. But I just remember, I think it probably was my main deterrent in life from watching soaps, because I remember watching it as a young person and going, that's crazy, because there were like witches and little people coming back from the dead as like living puppets, and it was just the most crazy thing to me. And I remember being kind of scared by it and thinking, God, I hope no one's life is actually like this, because I feel like that would make them want to kill themselves. Just the stress level alone would be like overwhelming on a daily basis. I would probably say like MTV and VH1, because I was like really into music videos, and I would always like learn the dances. Like I would learn every dance. I was really into that. Britney Spears, huge like dance role model. But yeah, so that's my 90s tag. I hope you guys liked it. If you want to do it, you can say I tagged you. I don't really know a lot of people who remember a lot of the 90s, so I don't really want to tag anybody specifically because for all I know they're gonna be like, dude, I don't remember any of that. So if you like this video and you want to do it, consider yourself tagged. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless, and don't forget to thumbs it up and subscribe to me because I love it. And send me any questions or comments or anything below, and I'm happy to respond to them. So yeah, so I think that's it, and I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.